All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 133 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you are joining us here this Tuesday morning, or if you are catching this on the replay. Now, as you guys know, we like to do things in series, and sometimes that's a week-long series, but this is super exciting because it is an absolutely whole month-long series of some fabulous individuals that are going to come on and dropping tons of golden nuggets at us as we all transition into back-to-school mode, or possibly transitioning into the what's next mode for those of us that our kiddos are either transitioning out of high school as young adults with different abilities, or are looking to go into college and maybe going that route, technical college, all of that. So we will be covering the gamut this whole month, but I am so excited to have been kicking off my series is Dr. Zarinah, aka Dr. Z. She is a speaker, a best-selling author, a founder and CEO of Rebound Sports and Rehab, and one of our favorite guests here on the On Air Advocate. Good morning, Dr. Z.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having me again. It's always so much fun.
Yes, and this morning we're going to be talking and really honing in on our younger kiddos, kind of under that adult age. I mean, things will pertain to adults, but a lot of it is how do we kickstart this school year in a healthy, nutritious manner, being proactive and planning for our young ones.
Absolutely. It is critical. And I'm glad you made that point, that this is very applicable to us as adults as well. For the sake of the conversation, we will direct our attention to the kiddos, but let it be known that the same things that we'll be talking about, the nuggets I give, are the same things that me and my husband, we also partake of. So it's just a general rule that pretty much what's good for the kids is going to be good enough for you. And so creating those habits early and young is obviously going to be really, really critical for them, how they're going to establish those habits when they get older.
Yes. And as we were chatting before we hopped on and we were going through how breakfast is still, right, the most important meal of the day.
It still is. It still is. And I want to share with you all some of my favorite go-tos for it comes from breakfast, because again, as Tammy just spoke to us about, I am extremely busy, but I'm not different than you, right? So we are very, very busy, living full lives. Kids get out the door, bells are ringing. I still have morning appointments and morning meetings, so on and so on and so forth, right? And it doesn't mean that we get to skip those, in particular with our kids. We definitely can't do that. So we want them to be able to lead out the day with a really, really great nutritional value that's already in them, so that they can also do their best, right, throughout their day. And it's really, really critical. But before I jump into the breakfast, I would love to share with you in general what I consider to be important as far as your weekly goals, in general, as far as what you want to make sure your children are getting and partaking in, right? Okay. So if some of you don't know me, I've had conversations, I even do some of the coaching around the kitchen takeover makeover. And what that essentially is that we have to make sure first our kitchen supports these goals. And the goals that I want to, basically share with you is making sure that you have fiber. And it doesn't have to be in the form of bread. We don't realize, but a lot of our hearty vegetables, as well as our fruits, are really, really packed with fiber. But our children need that for their gut health. They need that for regular bowel movements, as we talk about, right? They need that for their overall general health. We do too. So you want to make sure that when you're going grocery shopping you're thinking about, what am I going to be doing for lunch, for children, or even for us? Grab your dark leafy green vegetables. Grab your dark green leafy vegetables in general. Those are going to be packed with fiber. So grabbing those could be your broccoli, it could be your kale, even kale chips now. They have kale chips. Believe it or not, they can be really, really tasty. You packing that with some Parmesan, a little bit Parmesan, or even nutritional yeast for those who may be vegan, who want that kind of cheesy flavor. Put that with some garlic. Basically dry it out in the oven, and you have your own. or you can also, of course, buy them from many of the stores now. So that can be something, but just grabbing that fiber is really critical. Another thing I would definitely have you go down the aisle is the dairy aisle, but specifically grabbing probiotic, kefir, those things, Greek yogurts, those have our probiotics in it, and our children really, really, really need that. Far as their health is concerned, it's very preventative. It's, of course, also again for gut health, also good for brain health in general, and also has a great immune property. So we want to make sure that we're giving our kids those kind of things. Probiotics, fiber, those are two things. Protein as well. And protein, once again, I think we think of meat first, but there's a lot of vegetables that are actually packed with protein. So I am challenging us to start thinking about protein and think about vegetable protein. And do I eat meat? I do eat meat, but not really red meat, and I don't eat pork, but chicken and fish, those are still great options. So let's not, turkey as well, still great options. But first, let's think about our vegetable protein, if at all possible, right? So those can also, again, be your dark leafy greens, but any of your vegetables, for the most part, they have some nutritional value for protein in them. Believe it or not, our beans, our lentils, our hummus, a lot of children, you don't know if they like it until you don't offer it to them. But my kids love carrots and hummus. So those are just examples, grabbing those kind of things. So protein is another piece. So we talked about fiber, probiotic, protein is really critical. Antioxidants, right? Those are going to be our berries. You want to grab those berries. Grab those berries, bring them into the home. A lot of times I have a lot of challenges with some parents who kind of feel like, well, I'm always in the store trying to grab berries because they go bad too fast because they don't eat them fast enough or things like that. Well, one of those quick examples that you can do for that is when you grab your berries, be them fresh or just grab them from the frozen section. And those will last longer. My kids love to pop them in just as treats and fun. It's kind of fun to pop a frozen blueberry in their mouth. You can even put that, of course, in the lunch boxes, or that can be a quick afternoon snack with some yogurt or something like that. Once again, adding the protein. So just in general, first have an idea when you go into the store, what am I looking for? We're not looking for the cheese puffs. We're not looking for the Cheetos, right? We're not looking for the mayo per se. I don't even like packing mayo, not on the bread, because I'm always scared about bacteria growing because I don't know how long the lunch is sitting out. But, thinking about non-sandwich options, just think about what, first of all, do I want? What nutritional value am I trying to get for the kids? Protein, fiber, probiotic, antioxidants, and of course, hydration. So you really, really want to think about that and then go for what is going to basically fulfill those goals for the week. Grab those, bring them home, don't overthink it. And now we can jump into the most important meal, which is what? Breakfast.
And I think that that's so important that you speak to that and I think it reigns for all parts of our life, is that we have to plan and prepare. You need to set yourself up for success. So when the school year starts, it's kind of like preparing those backpacks ahead of time, laying clothes out and doing all of that. I think that, people talk about wanting to have a more nutritious kitchen and being prepared with healthy snacks, but you actually have to plan that. It doesn't just happen. They don't you don't just have that list in your refrigerator or things portioned to go. So that planning and preparing is so important, I think,
critical
for school year.
Yes, thank you for sharing. That is critical. It's like we have to be deliberate, right? We have to be intentional. And that's kind of my theme. Has always been for definitely since I've been a mother now. It's because it's so easy to not be and just wing it. But that's actually when we get anxious. That's when we get stressed out. That's when life just seems like, we never can catch up to it. Is when we're not deliberate, we're not intentional, we're not planning. So we definitely have to be that, especially as moms, especially as parents. If you have children, this is critical. What you're sharing with us, what you just spoke to, that is critical for everything that we're going to talk about today. Being deliberate and intentional is the cornerstone to making everything else run smoothly that you are desiring. Right. Like you said, the kitchen can only support you if you make that choice first and then bring that into the home, so that when you're looking for something to snack on, you're starving. Now at that point, it doesn't matter what you grab, because you're supported. Your kitchen is now supporting you. So it's not no overthinking, because whatever's in there is going to support your goals as well as your children's nutritional goals. Yeah. So that's really critical.
And so breakfast. I want to hear all your take on breakfast. Yes. I know sometimes everyone's like, grab a Pop-Tart, grab something, you're running out the door.
I know. It's so easy, right? One of my favorite ways, because it does happen, right? You do have some days where whatever happened, the kids aren't predictable, right? Especially if they have little ones. Like sometimes they fall out of routine. And that's just keeping us on our toes. And sometimes we just can't predict that. You may have a toddler, you may have a 1-year-old plus a school-age child. You may have an infant plus, like the infant might be throwing off his morning schedule. So I realize that all of those things happen. So when they do, we're already prepared. Why? Because we prepared on that Sunday or that Saturday. Whatever day is kind of like a chillax day for you, bring the kiddos in so that they can be part of this process, which is in a way, what would you like? You don't have to let them choose every meal for breakfast the next week, but they may say, you might ask them, what of these ingredients would you like? Open the pantry, let them pick and choose. I would love to taste that. I want to taste that. Let them feel like they're part of the process. Then you might say, some mommies are like me, sometimes I'm like this. Then I want you out the way, okay? You gave me your opinion. Now I want you to leave the kitchen so I can kind of do my thing, get in my zone. And then some days I'm more like, okay, let's do this together. Do whatever makes sense, but do still in some way incorporate them into the process is what I'm really getting at. And once they do that, on the Sunday or Saturday, whatever that may be, get your snack baggies, your lunch baggies, and start preparing those small portions out. That way, what I do is I have a basket right there at eye level for them. When I'm making the breakfast or I'm making the lunch in the morning, they can, again, go grab it. They can be part of that process. So they got to choose what snack bag they grab, and they put that into their lunchbox. So as far as breakfast is concerned, that allows me to focus on that. Same thing with the ingredients. One of their favorites is avocado toast. That's like somewhat popular, but not as popular, I guess, with children. People don't think of that. They think of themselves when they think about that avocado toast. But the children really, really love it as well if you give them an opportunity to love it. Right. And what that does is, again, take that avocado. It can be fresh avocado, or maybe you already have some prepared guacamole. That's basically the same thing. And you can spread it over top of a piece of toast. You can sprinkle whatever you want on it or nothing. It's actually very, very scrumptious without anything. And if that was all you had and it had to be on the go, at least you know that they'll be able to eat that in the car before they get to work. Before they get to school, they can eat it on the bus. It's something that I typically try to encourage you, even if you feel like you have time, having handheld type of breakfast, just in case you don't have that kind of time to sit with a plate or a bowl or whatever, that is something that they could take the rest of it with them to go. Right. I do that a lot. So we may have breakfast burritos. We may have the avocado toast. We may have something similar to, we actually sometimes make quiches, like little quiches where they look like muffins. They come in little muffins. Make those ahead of time. Cook them on the Sunday. That way, all you have to do is pop it in the microwave if you use microwaves. Some people don't like microwaves. That's fine as well. But these are really simple, quick things that you can do. If you're preparing on a Sunday, you wake up in the morning, it's ready to go, and you can focus on whatever you prefer to focus on in the morning, be it, affirming your kids, maybe it's, positivities or whatever it is, or maybe your own affirmations, whatever it is to get your mind right and your kids right so that they can leave the house doing well. So avocado toast is one of my favorites. Another breakfast one is, a boiled egg. Let's not forget about that. That's still, a good go-to. Is handheld. You might not want to do that every day, right? For some kiddos, it can increase their cholesterol. If you're doing it like every single day, 2-3 boiled eggs a day or something. But that's not a bad idea twice a week, where they may have a boiled egg and a piece of toast. Believe it or not, that can be very, very filling. Why? Because you're combining the protein with the fiber, bringing that together. That helps kind of give that satiety, that fullness a little bit longer. And that can be really, really helpful. And one of my other favorites, if you haven't tried it, is crock pot overnight oats. You almost can never go wrong with that. You put whatever their favorite ingredients are in it, be it coconut flakes or raisins or apples, cinnamon, whatever your favorite kind of toppings are. Once that oat is cooking in the middle of the night, you wake up and breakfast is done. You can either put it in a cup and let them go with it, or if they have time to sit at the table, obviously they sit at the table, that's preferred, and so they can kind of really process and chew and get their nutrients in that way. But overnight oats are really, really excellent because they're packed with fiber, packed with protein as well. Throw some berries on top. Now you have your antioxidants. Throw a little bit of yogurt in there even to make it creamier, but also you're going to get your probiotic. So it's don't overthink it, right? We can put all these different things together and really make the best of it. So now we added, if you do that alone, honestly, you could do that every day of the week if you wanted to. Your overnight oats, cook it in a crock pot and it's going to be probably enough for the week, to be honest with you, because you're only really eating like a bowl or whatever. And once that's done, the fiber in the protein in the oatmeal, throw those berries on top. Now you have the antioxidants. Throw a little bit of yogurt on that. Now you have the probiotic. That's pretty much everything I talked to you about. That is part of your weekly goals right there in the breakfast alone. Then you have the comfort of knowing your child went to school with everything that you intended for them to go to school.
And is there a certain brand of those oats that you really like? Because, when we talk about different oatmeals and oats and stuff, unless they're just the whatever Quaker plain oats, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of gimmicky ones out there, things that add
there
sugar,
is.
And so how do you know that you're getting something that's the best quality?
So what I typically try is to do the steel cut oats. I do like those because they're less processed. They're not as cut down. So that's in the most original state that the oat came in. So I do like steel oats. Some children, some adults even, it's kind of an acquired texture, not a taste. It tastes the same, but there's acquired texture to it. If you like it a little, a little heartier, a little nuttier, then you would love the steel cut oats. Otherwise, old-fashioned oats, as long as there's no additives, because you do have to be careful about that in terms of the sodium. Sometimes it's completely unnecessary, but sometimes the sodium that they add to that, so to the rolled oats at times, I've noticed that. So you have to be careful about that. No favorite favorite brand per se, but I always look at my labels, because believe it or not, sometimes the reason why I don't do favorite brands as much anymore is because sometimes what I notice is that what used to be my favorite brand over time, if you have to continue to still look at the labels, because they may add things or take out things over time and you don't realize that they did it because you're just so used to grabbing it off the shelf. So I tend to just continue to educate people to read the label, read the label, read the label. And even your favorite brand, once in a while, you got to continue to turn that label around to make sure it's still supporting what your goals are, because brands do change their ingredients for economical reasons, for shortage reasons, for whatever reasons. But that may not be what is best for you and your lifestyle. So that's why I don't do water.
Yeah, and then you're just adding water to those oats, throwing them in the crock pot, letting them cook on low overnight.
Boom.
All right.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. And then you add your own stuff, right? So that you know what's going in it. You know if you added salt, which I don't do or recommend adding salt to your, maybe people do, I don't know. But keeping it simple with those ingredients. You can even add Manuka honey if you feel like, oh, I want some sweetness. Manuka honey is packed with a lot of antioxidants, a lot of properties that help our immune system. So that could, if you want to add a natural sweetener, that could be something that you could do. That's also going to give you some benefits as well. And as you've probably heard me talk about, I've also used date sugar. Dates are one of the most powerful superfoods in terms of packed with proteins and things like that. And there are date sugars on the market that are literally just dates grounded up. And it looks like brown sugar, basically, is what it looks like. And it can be great to add to your oatmeal if you're trying to stay away from like the table white sugar kind of stuff. Just a little bit of that goes a long way. And so that could be another way to sweeten your oatmeal should you need something to sweeten it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And breakfast, as we were talking about before we hopped on too, in that breakfast time frame and as the kids are getting to school, what are other things in that morning process that you think are so important? I know we talked a little bit about hydration and all of that to really keep the brain and the body moving.
Yeah, so it's really critical. Thank you for asking this. So it's really, really critical that we're hydrating our kids. One thing I noticed, because I'm a mom of young children as well, elementary age, and increasingly I noticed that they don't really hydrate the children throughout the day, at least not at our school. And because I'm really a big stickler about staying hydrated. Our children's kidneys, they can get urinary tract infections. You're kind of like, why is my kid getting UTIs? Have you ever wondered about that? I know a lot of my moms that I've seen even in the office, I'm not a general practitioner of family medicine, but I talk to moms, right? And we have conversations and we're kind of having trying to figure out why this is happening with my child. Hydration is huge. And not only just for the hydration of their kidneys and just the overall vitality, excuse me, but even their focus. So if they're not able to focus much, in class, sometimes they just know not to ask, right? They may be afraid to ask the teacher for water because it's not water time or whatever the case may be, or they may even be limited for bathroom breaks, so they don't want to, have those issues. So that's not really what you want our kids to be thinking about, right? You want them to just be able to live and educate themselves and be able to focus. So one thing I like to do is I'll do coconut water, infuse fruit into that coconut water. Why coconut water, you ask? It's also potentially acquired taste, but I noticed once I started infusing it with fruit, my children, love it. Or even it's a great way to have a popsicle in the morning without you feeling the guilt, because what we do is we'll put the coconut water in like a popsicle mold, then throw the fruit in there, and then they could have that also on the way to school. They feel really great because they feel like eating popsicles, but essentially what you're doing is hydrating them because it's packed with vitamins, packed with minerals, so many minerals. And so it actually has the ability to hydrate them and keep them a little bit more hydrated for longer than just water alone. And so that's really, really helpful if you finding or feeling like your child is not being hydrated until you see them again, and the end of the day, which is, for me, is very troublesome. So I try to do my best to do some things to try to circumvent that, and coconut water can be a great way to do that. And like, again, if you acquire taste, because I actually don't like it alone either, but I love it as the popsicle. We don't add any sugar. We literally just add the pineapples, and some berries, and the pineapple itself kind of gives it, extra flavor because it's it's a juicy fruit, things like that. And it can really, really be helpful to make sure that you feel like you're hydrating your kids before they go off to school. Because sometimes it's like they have time to eat, but they didn't have time to drink, when you're leaving the house or whatever the case may be. But that could be a great way to introduce that.
And isn't it true that once we get to the point that we feel thirsty, it already means that we are somewhat dehydrated?
Correct.
Kids are saying, I need something to drink, you're already to that point.
Yes. And even as adults, we do that a lot, right? So our kids, some of our kiddos do. Our middle schoolers and high schoolers, they may have smartphones. So one of the recommendations I give to my adults is the same recommendation I guess I would give to the middle schoolers who have phones or high schools who do, is you actually set your alarm to go off and say water, or when it goes off, you look at phone, it says water. So every couple of hours in your day, you should drink some water so that you're staying hydrated. The elementary kids don't have that privilege. I don't think they have. I don't see kids at elementary with phones. They probably do, but I don't think they're in class with the phone, so they don't really, can't set their alarms. But for the children that are, they don't have the ability to do that. Coconut water, infuse that with some fruit. That can be really, really helpful to kind of basically hydrate your child before they go off, if you're feeling like they're not getting enough water during the day.
Okay. And
critical for their focus.
They're at the dollar store, so they're only $1 to get those.
Oh, there you go. See?
So, I mean, it can be something fun and inexpensive all at the same time. And you probably could do the same thing with fun ice cubes.
Yes.
Make them and then add them, to something.
Yes. And we have done that we happen to have the popsicle molds, but yeah, we've done that as well. I've done that for adult drinks as well. May make the adult drink, infuse that with some mint with the coconut water or whatever, and then throw that in a glass of juice, or like a juice or a fizz or a sparkling water or whatever. And yeah, exactly. It can be definitely fun and just a little creative and fun to drink because it's visual pleasing to look at as well.
All right. Now, as we move on to after school snacks, midday snacks, at school snacks, and lunchtime, what are your thoughts on all that?
So again, we have to go back to our goals, right? We have to go back to what we were trying to accomplish. So once you're thinking about the fiber, the protein, the probiotics, the antioxidants, those are the kind of things, again, I want to encourage you to grab those first off the grocery shelves. And specifically, if you think about it, you've probably heard this before. Some of your listeners, if you have, type in below and let us know what your experience has been. But I also say shop the perimeter first, because that's really where the fresh food is, right? So if you kind of minimize being in the aisles, for the most part, you're doing really good, because the perimeter of the grocery store is where all the fresh produce is, and the things that are basically real food, live food that's not highly processed. So start there. You're gonna find your proteins. You're gonna find your berries. You're gonna find things like that. Your fresh vegetables and fresh fruits. So as far as lunch is concerned, one of my favorite go-tos, because they love it, they've kind of learned to love it, again, is guacamole or avocado, mashed avocado. They have now these little containers that has like a 2 container like 2 spaces in it, one space there. And they have them everywhere. I don't care what store you go to for the most part, because they're meant for snacks. And I'll put some hummus on one side and maybe some baby carrots on the other side. And if it's guacamole or avocado, I'll put some avocado there, and I may put some little wheat crackers on the other side. They can dip that. And kids love dipping pretty much anything. So that is one of my favorite go-tos. And again, it has no guilt really with that, because you have your protein in there, the fiber is in there. They're enjoying it. It's not a sandwich. I don't know. Maybe it's just my kids, but they don't really love sandwiches. So they like when I make their lunches prefer to daddy, because daddy will throw them a sandwich in a minute. But, you know, it's easy. But in general, the kids love to dip. So grab, you know, a big container of hummus, or big container of avocados or whatever they on sale. Grab them, make them, go ahead and make them up. That's really, really critical. And again, don't overthink it, because that same, you know, thing that if you did hummus, say hummus and carrots on Monday, hummus and carrots could be an afternoon snack on Thursday. So you don't have to overthink it. It's there in your kitchen. Grab it. Don't overthink it. We're busy. We know it's there. They'll enjoy it for maybe not the same day, they won't, but on Thursday for afternoon snack, when they have it for lunch on a Monday, it'll be totally fine. Totally fine. So that's one thing that I love to do. Another thing, actually I have an example here. I actually did prepare it because I'm going to eat it after this. I'm going to eat it after this. But these apple sandwiches, or even these little kebabs, kids love kebabs, right? They're just little berries. They're fun. You know, they can eat off of them, and these grow right into their lunch boxes as well. This is actually an apple sandwich. So you take the other half, you put it on top. It's really fun. It's a sandwich, and boom. And it's not really bread and cheese and meat, but it's super fun. They may get 2 of these because it's so filling. It's packed with fiber. The other thing that's on here is sun butter, because a lot of schools are banning nuts and things like that because of nut allergies. But sun butter is another great alternative that we do use in my family, which is just basic sunflower seeds. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't heard of it.
You would love this. It's actually really, really tasty. And then we sprinkle some granola on top. That same granola that I'll probably use on top of yogurt for breakfast at some other point, right? Because we have a big bag of the granola. So we don't have to overthink that. You put that other piece on top, and now you have your apple sandwiches. And this is one of the recipes that's in that book, 15 Minutes to Your Pain Freedom. Everybody has 15 minutes because we all do. So we all have 15 minutes. But those are examples of that, right? You could have kebabs, throw in fruit kebabs, whatever. And if you had some more apple left over, because as you can imagine, this is not a whole apple, right? That's a part of the apple, but you might chop up the rest of that apple and put it on the kebab. Just get creative, but don't overthink it. It's like, it's there. Let's use what we have. And it really, really makes a difference, because that same sandwich that you used, maybe for lunch that day for the kiddos, when they come home, you might throw some of those, or actually already do it right there. Throw those apples on the kebab with those berries, put it in the fridge, so when they come home, Mommy, I'm hungry, go get your kebabs out the fridge. It's already there for you. It's done, because you did it when you were making your apple sandwiches. Just little things like that. Saves you a ton of time, saves you a lot of stress. They're happy, you're good, you can decompress for a minute even, and that works, versus saying, oh my gosh, I don't have anything to give them, or I have to go prepare something. You were already cutting the apple for the sandwich. Go ahead and chop the rest of it up for your kebabs. You're good to go. No mess, no fuss, and it's done. Mm-hmm. So just things like that is really, really helpful for your lunch and your afternoon snacks. So as you can see, I try personally to minimize the thinking by whatever's in my hand. For the most part, I'm going to do whatever else and prepare it and put it away, so it's already done and grabbable, right, for them to grab. And not all of them can grab, but I encourage you to create that independence with your kiddos very, very young. Eye level things helps, and not only will it help you for the beginning when you're first getting them used to doing that, it could be a little like, I don't know, never mind. Yeah. Okay. But if you stay with it, they get it actually quicker than you think. If you think back on it, it doesn't take that long for them to get it once you just get them trained up to do it. And it really, really saves you a lot, because maybe you're trying to finish something for work, but you're home and they're hungry. You're trying to multitask. Put it at eye level. They can grab it safely, and then it's done. So we have like probably 2 baskets of snacks. that we pre-cut or pre-package, right? Pre-bag, and it's their eye level. They don't go in without permission, and they go in when they, when we can. So those kind of things can really save you so much stress, but also it allows your child to, again, engage in their own nutrition.
Yeah, and I think that's what is awesome is that the plastic bag companies have even come out with all the different sizes we need. A long time ago, you only had like the fold over sandwich bags. Then if you're trying to make something, it was leaking out and whatnot. But now you have the appropriate like snack size bag, and now they came out with ones that are more of a rectangle.
You do.
Yeah, so you can perfectly fit like the little kebabs, and you can perfectly fit the amount of snack that you need, so you don't have these huge, bags are leaking all over the containers. So all the things are there. I think it's just that proactively planning, making a day during the week that you're going to.
And we can all find, I think, again, I'm a solution driven. So that actually is why I even named that book. Everybody has 15 minutes, because we really all do. We may not have 20, may not have 25, but you have 15. We can really find that time to just do that. And if it may not be completing the task, because sometimes that can be overwhelming. Well, Dr. Z, I don't have 30 minutes on Sunday. I don't have 30 minutes on Saturday. But if you have 15 minutes on Saturday and 15 minutes on Sunday, just use that 15 minutes. Set your alarm and feel like, okay, I got something done and accomplished in that 15 minutes. You'll believe it or not, you'll be very surprised of how much you get done in 15 minutes. So even if it's breaking it up, I don't want to overwhelm anybody. I really want to encourage you that it's about taking the small steps, again, towards your goals. You want to support that. Obviously, we're examples for our children. So we're teaching them to be solution driven as well. We're teaching them to take little bites at a time, literally and figuratively, to march down your goals and to really accomplish your goals. So even that alone, I don't want to make this like a, overwhelming thinking process, or like, oh my gosh, that's too much. She's doing too much. Take a few minutes on that Saturday, a few minutes on that Sunday. That combined 30 minutes is probably going to be all you needed to get it done, so that Monday is a more relaxing, less stressful, less anxiety morning. And when you come home, the same thing. I do realize that when we come home, sometimes we need a minute, But so just imagine if you were deliberate and intentional about planning for that minute that you needed, because your snacks are at eye level, the kids can go grab it, and you can sit down for 10 minutes, and they can do their thing for 10 minutes. That is huge. We all know that we need that. And so that is what I'm getting at. Don't overthink it, but definitely be deliberate. You got to think about it, but you don't have to overthink it.
Right. Now, I know, Dr. Z, you have, I think, more than even one, right? 2 different like recipe and cooking books. So if people want more to kind of dig into, different ingredients that are needed, different recipes that you mix up, meals that you found that are awesome.
Yeah.
What are those again? I know there's the 15-minute, right? There's a 15.
There is, that's the main one. And then I also do blogging as well now. So on the Dr. Zarinah page, www.drzarinah, so that's DrZarinah, which I'm sure is probably in the link as well, or in the caption above that you may see here. You can go there because there's a blog there as well. And I try to give tips and ideas and healthy tips and things like that. A lot of it is geared towards people like me, which is a woman, busy, a professional woman, a mother, things like that. And a lot of, athletic things too, as far as prevention for injuries and things like that. But I do obviously speak a lot about food. The book, though, is Everybody Has 15 Minutes, 15-minute meals to Your Pain Freedom. You can find this on the Dr. Zarinah page today through Friday, actually. This book will be on sale for your audience. It is 50% off through Friday. So, and then after Friday, it goes back to regular price, but there's a flash sale. I love you, Tammy. I love your audience. So you guys have always been great. So I really wanted to do that and share that with you guys, because I know the struggle. The struggle is so real. And so we can minimize that struggle if we just kind of be a little bit more intentional. So in that book, the main idea is that they're MVP ingredients, most valuable player ingredients in every recipe. So that, again, it takes the thinking out of it. I tell you exactly what are the MVP ingredients of that recipe and why you're eating it, why you're introducing it into that recipe. And so every single recipe, there's snacks, there's dinners, there's lunches, there's sides, those kind of things. It's in there to really help you get your mind right, as well as eventually what happens is your pantry will be these main things. So you can find those kind of ideas not only in the book, but also on the webpage. And that's pretty much just free reading where I even talk about my Dr. Z's MVP pantry list. You know, things that are my staples that my home never is without, that really keeps my family healthy throughout the year and such. So that's really, really, really helpful, really helpful.
Yes, and easy, especially if it's accessible for you to be able to take a list with you.
Yes, right on your phone or your tablet or whatever the case may
Right.
be.
And when you're looking at these recipes and stuff, it's nice to have an idea. Like sometimes you don't even think things could be put together until you see someone else do it.
Yes, exactly.
By example. So, all right. Well, the book is going to be then, I'll put the link down, right? Where we're going to drop the link below for that.
Yes, it's actually on the page. It's only on sale there on our page for 50% off, drzarinah.com. So right there, basically drzarinah.com. So that's drzarinah.com. On the shopping page, you'll see that flash sale. It'll be there through Friday. I just wanted to thank your audience for, you guys are always great. You've always been great, Tammy, so you definitely deserve that. And I just want to see everybody win at this school year and for themselves.
Definitely. And I know that a little off track from the kiddos, but you and your sister started a podcast, right?
We did. And that is the duality of vitality. And the reason we titled it that is because we are a duality in the sense of that I'm sports medicine. She's actually a mental health a psychiatrist, mental health specialist. So bringing the mind and the body together for our vitality. And we get really fun on there as well. We talk about mental health issues. We talk about injury prevention as well as issues with pain and other injuries or just, our functional mobility. We talk a lot about that. We talk about food on there as well. And we all talk about mom things because we're both moms. We're both professional women who are moms and wives. So sometimes we go off medicine and just talk about real life. So it's been a lot of fun and been received really well.
I love it. And can we drop that below this too? Can we drop that?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Sure, definitely.
As well. Well, I thank you as always, Dr. Z, for spending this morning with us, also being my kickoff to the Back to School series.
I look forward to the rest of it.
Yes. And for some of you that maybe didn't catch it on the previews of this, I'm going to drop it below as well. We do have a whole entire broadcast guide. So this month, we will probably end up having about 18 different interviews. So you can tap onto the guide, you can see the topics, the titles, you can learn about the people that are going to be on before they're on, or if you want to reference back so you know what episodes you want to watch, make sure you click that link, make sure you print off your guide so that you have it so you know who's all going to be on. I just thought it would be a very useful tool because we all do live in this busy world where we're like, oh, I need to catch that. All of that.
Exactly.
And also we're going to drop below, we have our new blog that came out and all of that, but you can find all of the information right at onairadvocate.com. Also, if you head to the top of this page and you press the blue button, you can visit our private On Air Advocate Facebook group as well, which I do some separate teaching and separate episodes inside of there. So today actually I'm going to be hopping in there and we're going to be talking about developing support groups through your school system. So sometimes within our schools, as we have kiddos with different abilities, how do we get a support group that we need for parents so we're all talking to each other? So we're going to chat about that today. So on that note, thank you again, Dr. Z. I am so happy you were my kickoff. And
yay, anytime.
And thank you for the flash sale. I will be hopping on to order a few for friends.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.